Welcome to the Parker Daniels Show, where amazing stories are shared.
And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay.
Welcome to the show. What show, you ask? Well, the Parker Daniels Show, where we make changes, no excuses. A visually impaired author is the topic for today, and we will be speaking with Miss Jo Elizabeth. She has a special treat, so y'all stay tuned so y'all can see what it is. Also, please, please, please hit that like button, subscribe button, share, and comment on the videos. Now, a little background history about Miss Jo Elizabeth. She's been blind since birth due to retinopathy prematurity. She's the first to go to public school in her state, which is Colorado, even though she had to fight to get in. She is the mother of 3 kids, has 2 degrees, and is a published author. So, listeners and viewers, let's welcome Elizabeth to the show. Hi, Jo Elizabeth. How you doing?
Hi.
What were some of the challenges that you had to face during your upbringing? If you don't mind sharing that with us.
Oh, well, I didn't know that a lot of the challenges were challenges then, really. I grew up in a small town, and I had a sighted brother and sister, and I just thought I was one of the kids. But
Okay.
when I grew up and became an adult and met other blind people, it was kind of a shock, because I figured out that, wow, once the playing field is level, I do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how hard it was for me to keep up, and that it was okay for me to struggle. I think we should let our young blind kids know that it's okay that they have a hard time sometimes. I think we tell them, oh, you can be anything, you can do anything, you can achieve anything you want, which is good. But then they graduate from school and hit the real world, and they find out that there's discrimination and there's attitudes in the real world that they're not expecting.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I did a show on that a couple of days ago on that same topic in reference to how it is once you graduate from high school, because a lot of blind people, including myself, had a rude awakening and whatnot. So definitely I need to check that out. But
it's a bit of a shock
it
when
definitely
they
is a bit.
get out there and they find that the world is not what they're thinking it's going to be.
You went to public school your entire years as a teenager, right?
Sure.
Do you think, because I was mainstream, do you think that going to all public school was to you, in your opinion, an advantage or a disadvantage, being though that you were blind and you didn't have the chance to really kind of mingle with other vision impaired kids? What is your take on that?
Well, I think in most ways it was an advantage for me, because I learned how to deal with the real world. And my mom was a big advocate for independence for me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to be socially aware. I learned how to have independent skills. I learned how to do laundry. I learned how to travel in a sighted world. I learned how to keep track of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All those kind of skills. So I didn't need to go to a training center or anything. I had a pretty good handle on things when I went to college. On the other hand, I really didn't know that it wasn't I didn't know why I had such a hard time keeping up. And the first time I really I went to summer camp with blind people, but it was only a week or two every year. And so when the first time I had a prolonged exposure to blind people, the big group of them, was when I got my first guide dog at age 21. And I thought, wow, I really am pretty good. I can hold my own.
Mm-hmm. So it definitely helped.
I'm not behind the ball, you know?
Well, it's like, yeah, so it definitely helped you out as far as going to a public school a great deal.
Right. But I felt like it was a big self-esteem boost when I finally was exposed to a big group of blind people. And for the first time in my life, I felt like a competent person when the playing field was level. So there were advantages and disadvantages, but overall, I think it was a good experience to be mainstream. The book started as a short story in a high school English class, and I fell in love with the characters, which were a group of teenagers from the projects, and they captivated me and they wouldn't let me go. So I put the story away in a scrapbook, and I thought that was the end of it. And then in the 90s, I needed to learn how to use a word processor, you know, a DOS machine with 5-inch floppies and no internet. So I took the story out and typed it in to learn how to edit and delete and cut and paste and move stuff around. And it was pretty amateurish, but as I started doing all that with the text, it got better. And I showed it to my first husband at the time, and he said, "You can't end it like that. What happens next?" And so it grew and eventually turned into a novel. And then I picked it up, put it down, and shopped it around a little, and life happened. And over the next 20 years or so, and then my mom died very suddenly in 2014 of cancer, and it kind of hit me, you know, we don't know how long we have on this planet. And so I decided to self-publish because none of the agents that I had given it to had known quite what to do with it. Was it inspirational? Was it coming of age? Was it contemporary? Was it urban fiction? It kind of didn't fit into their little boxes. And it had kind of grown out of experiences that my first husband and I had living in poverty in a trailer park where the police hesitated to go. We were the stable adults in that neighborhood because all the other adults were either working or off being crazy, and we touched the lives of a lot of kids there. And so I learned a lot about mentoring and about making a difference to people and about how we all can change the world, or we can sit around complaining about it. And it's our choice, and it's our responsibility, really.
And what was the title of the book?
The book is called The Bright Side of Darkness, and it's available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback and audio formats. It's on Audible also.
Okay. And how successful have you?
It's been doing well. It's no Stephen King, but it's been perking right along. That was in 2015, and it's also on Bookshare. I haven't gotten it in the NLS yet. That's quite a process, really, to do that. I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. So, it's got a blind character also in it. She has a guide dog. She's not the main character, but she's in the book, and she figures prominently in the book, but she's not what the book is about. So that was kind of where I thought it was going to start and end. But once you get into that, you can't really it's like the potato chips. You can't do just one.
Mm-hmm. So in essence, the bright side of darkness, if you were to sum it up, you know, in a couple of words, what would it be about if someone were to come and ask you?
It's about a group of kids from the projects and how their lives change when one of them gets a mentor who teaches him that he can believe in himself.
Okay. And you have another book that you told me that you're coming out with in a couple of weeks, called
Yes.
Daddy
Won't Let Mom Drive the Car, True Tales of Parenting in the Dark. And it's due out on Amazon in Kindle and paperback in a couple of weeks. And I'll try to get it on audio as soon as I can, but that takes some doing. And it's a series of a couple dozen short vignettes about me and my daughter and my experiences with parenting her. It's mostly funny, a few serious things tossed in, but it's meant to show how blind parenting is not really that different from ordinary sighted parenting. And I was inspired to write this stuff down because when I started being a mom, there weren't that many people talking about it. And some people that were dear to me had some misgivings about how I was going to do it and what would happen to my baby and how safe was it going to be. And I had to stand up to that. And now there are a lot of younger moms that are out there talking about it, but my daughter is school age and there are still not that many people with kids my age talking about what it's like. So I wanted to write some stuff down and put it out there that, hey, really, this can work.
Okay. Now with the title, how did you come up with the title, Daddy Won't Let Me Drive the Car, and tie it into this?
Well, when my daughter was in second grade, some kids were teasing her because she walks a lot of places with me and my guide dog. And so I went to her class and told the kids about guide dogs and what they do and how they help blind people get around. And the teacher asked her what it's like to have a blind mom. And she said, well, it's just like a regular mom, except Daddy won't let her drive his car.
I like that. That's a great, because I was trying to find out what the significance. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. I mean, it's been a pleasure speaking with you about your works and what have you, and I'm definitely going to check out that. Now, you told me off camera that you have a little treat for my audience, and you can explain to them what you are planning on doing with your books and stuff.
Well, I have some free Audible codes. If people are members of audible.com who live in the United States or the UK, they can email me at joepinto@msn.com, all one word, joepinto@msn.com, and ask me for an Audible code to get a free Audible copy of The Bright Side of Darkness to listen to. And I'd love it if they would listen to it and then write a review of the book when they're done. But they can get that Audible code by emailing me for it, and that way they don't get duplicates. So that is a free giveaway for listening to this broadcast.
Thank you so much. And give them the email again and spell Pinto for
JOPINTO@msn.com.
Okay. I definitely appreciate you doing that for me and the show, and I'm quite sure my co-host would agree as well. In closing, because I'm going to bring you back with another topic, give the audience a little words of encouragement for any individual who may have faced what you face in terms of the struggles and what have you. Give them a little encouragement that they can use to take out into the real world, if you may.
Well, my mom was a tough lady. We didn't always get along. In fact, we didn't get along a lot of the time. But she taught me that if you really want something bad enough, the chasm between where you are and where you want to be doesn't matter that much.
Yes, I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it. Let it take you away and be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way.